Hey folks, my name's Ed Trevors. My pronouns are he, him, and his. I'm an Anglican priest serving in the beautiful parish of St. Margaret of Scotland that sits on the ancestral and on the unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people, Gwe. I'm going to read you a story today. Well, it's not a story, it's a post, a Facebook post from a person by the name of Barbara Hearn, but a good friend of mine sent it to me, and I thought it was beautiful, and something occurred to me as I was reading it, and I thought I would share it with you, and well, you know how all that works. Here goes. Every once in a while, a ewe will give birth to a lamb and reject it. There are many reasons she may do this. If the lamb is returned to the ewe, the mother may even kick the poor animal away, though. Once a ewe rejects one of her lambs, she will never change her mind. These little lambs will hang their heads so low that it looks like something is wrong with its neck. Its spirit is broken. These lambs are called bummer lambs. Unless the shepherd intervenes, that lamb will die, rejected and alone. So do you know what the shepherd does? He takes the little rejected one into his home, hand feeds it, keeps it warm by the fire. He will wrap it in blankets and hold it to his chest so the bummer can hear his heartbeat. Once the lamb is strong enough, the shepherd will place it back in the field with the rest of the flock. But the sheep never forgets how the shepherd cared for it when his mother rejected him. When the shepherd calls the flock, guess who comes running first? That's right, the bummer sheep. He knows the shepherd's voice intimately. It is not the bummer lamb. It is not that the bummer sheep is loved more. It just knows intimately the one who loves it, and it has experienced that love one-on-one. So many of us are bummer lambs, rejected and broken. But he is the good shepherd. He cares for our every need and holds us close to his heart so we can hear his heartbeat. I am a bummer lamb, adopted and loved by the good shepherd, Jesus Christ. This imagery is very common in the Christian world, as I'm sure you know. There's lots of talk about lambs and shepherds and sheep and shepherds and flock. All kinds of it. The metaphor can be truly wonderful, truly inspiring and encouraging. Knowing that there is someone who loves us like the shepherd loves this little bummer lamb. We see Jesus that way. And we see our relationship with Jesus that way, that no matter where we come from, no matter who we are, or whether we were rejected, or what we've done, or no matter what, Jesus picks us up like this. That in our relationship with Christ, he picks us up like this. He takes care of us. He feeds us. He nurtures us. He keeps us warm. He keeps us close to him so that we can grow intimately aware of who he is, even his heartbeat. So that when the time comes for us to be sent back out into the flock, out into the world, we'll know his voice above all others. We'll be able to discern his voice amongst the mass of noise we often encounter. These kinds of stories help me to remember how deeply I am loved. They help me to remember how much Jesus is willing to do for me, to keep me safe, to keep me healthy, to empower me and equip me. But as I read stories like this, I am often not so subtly challenged when I remember that while Jesus is the good shepherd, we, as his followers, are called to do the same. That we live in a world filled with bummer sheep. And it would be wonderful if they all knew Jesus. It's up to us to actually be the ones to go out there as shepherds, to care for these bummer sheep, to round them up, to find them, to take them someplace safe, feed them, to get to know them, to let them get to know us, to keep them warm, to keep them strong, to teach them, to empower them, to equip them, to prepare them, so that when they're grown up, we can let them out again. We can let them out into the world again. These kinds of stories, when we think about it from our place in it as shepherds, they also remind us so perfectly of how it is we were supposed to make disciples of all the world. Not by force-feeding anybody the gospel, not by pushing our laws and moralities onto anybody, but by going out into the world, finding the bummer lambs, finding those who have been rejected, finding those who are lost, finding those who are alone, who are suffering, who are broken, who are damaged, taking care of them. And taking care of them so gently and so thoroughly that they come to know the one who sent us, not because we've shoved Jesus into every conversation, but just because they can see Jesus in who we are. They can see the Good Shepherd in our shepherding. May the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May the Lord's face be made to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord's countenance be lifted up to you. May you always know the peace of being in the Lord's presence. And I pray that despite how this metaphor may rub people the wrong way sometimes, that we will go out into the world to find those wee bummer lambs, that we'd be willing to take care of them, that we'd be willing to let them get to know us, that we'd be willing to be a part of their life in such a way that we could help them grow, to grow strong and healthy. Everybody deserves to have somebody watching over them like this. Today, that responsibility falls onto you and I. Amen. Nemultus.